yeah, how you doing? It is hump day today. Make sure you get out there and hump a loved one because it makes you feel good. Make sure she's tight and not a wide open tunnel. If she is, tell her to contact China Doll. She'll talk to her about some Kegels. What's up, China?
That was the weirdest intro ever.
Well, you know, it's me. It's Hollywood.
Yeah, you got to be you.
You ready for a ride this weekend?
Yes,
You gonna catch Penguin doing some silly shit again?
maybe. Anything is possible.
I still can't. I have to have that up all the time. You know what? There's a new dance. It's the Penguin dance.
Just sit in your chair and fake it till you make it.
It's funny when he's on the bike and stuff. He's doing the YMCA and shit.
Oh my god, I love watching him.
I'm
It's
dying.
hilarious.
It makes me die, man.
It's awesome.
So today we're gonna be talking about, does religion do more harm than good? And I guess there is 4 pros and cons in this one. But yeah, that's gonna be an interesting one. Yeah, we're gonna go and do some riding this weekend. We're double dating.
Yeah.
Double dating, man,
Yeah.
like in high school and stuff.
I know, it's so cute.
At least this ain't setting a friend up on a blind date, man. Blind dates, they scare the shit out of me.
No, at least they know each other.
Yeah, at least they know each other, man. But ain't blind dates pretty fucked up?
Yeah, I would never do one.
Next thing you know, your friend's telling you, hey, man, you know, I got this awesome girl that wants to come out, hook you up with. Next thing you know, she's a whale. And it's like, how the hell do you get out of that one?
She's got a really good personality.
Yeah, that's why is that?
They always if
they always
start
go
with that,
to the they always go to I'm a big beautiful woman or I got a great personality. It's like, dude, go to the gym. Okay, go to the gym.
if they tell you that if somebody's trying to set you up on a blind date and they tell you, well, they have a really good personality, yeah,
Run.
don't go.
Run. I'm telling you, get
don't
out
do
of
it.
there. Get
Don't
by.
do it.
Never.
Sad.
That's
It's a
why I like
scary
going to get
thing.
my own women, man. That way I don't have to worry about that. And if a friend asks me, hey, you want to go on a double date? The first thing I say is, fuck you.
I'll bring my own.
Yeah, right?
Bring my own.
Jesus Christ, man. Unbelievable. Not cool. But, you know, I have to address this with China Doll. See,
Oh, geez, here we go.
I'm a very open and honest person with my audience. You know, I share everything with them.
Oh, Lord.
And you know what, guys? I told you why that I don't like China Doll coming home and telling me about her job. Okay. Well, she goes and says, well, I just want to vent. Okay, cool. You know, you want to vent a little bit, vent. Then afterwards, fucking forget it. Not her. She turns into a raging bitch. And then you wonder why that I don't want to hear about her bullshit. Am I being honest or not?
Yes.
You laugh about it now, but it's not funny at the time. So do you understand why I don't want to hear about it?
Okay, who's up for being texted that when I get home from work at 11 p.m.?
You're not going to vent to me no more. Women are silly creatures. I'm sorry. Women are silly creatures. You go all on emotion, and it drives me batshit crazy. You do it on purpose.
We don't do it on purpose. It just is what it is.
No, you do that shit on purpose.
Nah.
When somebody offers you an ear and you tell them what the hell is on your mind, and then when you're done, you leave it alone. But not you. You then get pissed at me, and I didn't even do nothing. Enough with the laughing, Camellia Harris.
Shut up. You're a tard.
Why did you get pissed at me for listening?
I don't know. Because I can. Because you didn't say nothing. You just sat there like a. Yeah, and I know you really weren't listening.
I'm a soundboard. Cool. I like letting people talk. So you talked.
I did.
And then when you were done,
I was still mad.
I didn't even do nothing. You look at me like I'm the asshole that did something to you there.
No, it wasn't you. Trust me.
And now you know wonder why men stare off into the abyss and don't listen to the problem. And when I do give the advice, you get even more pissed at me.
No, your favorite thing was, well, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to tell you because you don't listen any damn way. You never take my advice. You never do.
I do sometimes.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Because
yes,
if you,
I do.
Because if you did, you wouldn't be in that situation. It's picked on China Doll on Hump Day today. That's what you need to do is with your old lady on Hump Day, pick on her. Because she does it to you the rest of the week.
Rude.
What do you mean rude?
What?
See, she's speechless. She don't know what to say right now because
I'm in the hot seat.
you're in a hot seat and you know I'm right.
I just go sit here and take it.
I know the name. I know the names of half the kids that Melissa drives. Okay, rock on. Just get her an emotional support monkey. You know what? That would work, Steve. It will work
I want
until
a
it kills
monkey.
itself, so it don't have to listen to the bullshit.
I'll talk to the
So there's a
dogs.
lot of guys out there that understand what I'm talking about here. A lot of guys.
Well, John said. Did you see John's in here?
Nah, I haven't. It's going too fast.
John's.
By the
in
way,
here.
how you guys and gals doing over on Rumble? Yes, we're live streaming over on Rumble right now.
Penguin, you're in Rumble too now with the video. John says it's in every husband's gripe.
It is. Taking the old lady for a walk today. Obligations. Rock on there, LA. Rock on. But what do you think? Should I get her
that could be misstrued.
emotional support monkey? He will probably shoot himself.
I
with
want an
having a-
emotional support monkey.
Now, if you were me, put me in, put yourself in my shoes. How would you feel? Honestly, don't lie and don't laugh because the Camellia Harris thing's getting old. How would you feel if you were in my shoes and that shit was happening?
I would give my advice, and if they take it or leave it, or be like, oh my God, you could at least say something like, well, that guy's an idiot. I don't know.
See, this is like a counseling session.
I don't want a counseling
For
session.
China
I went
now.
there yesterday.
Yeah, but this is damn wood. That was savage. I'm savage sometimes because I get pissed off, man. And it's like, you know what? I try to wake up positive every single day. And then when you have a negative Nancy that lives with you, it's kind of hard to stay positive.
I didn't wake up negative.
Yeah, but you turn negative during the day. And that's one thing I don't understand because you're taking all this stress for no reason. You put it on yourself.
I didn't put any of the stress that happened yesterday on myself. No.
You let it affect you.
Well, of course it's going to affect me when things aren't done when they're supposed to be done and things aren't getting done properly. Then,
Well, that's as a boss, you got to step in and
I already told you, wasn't allowed to.
you're allowed to do anything as a boss.
Yeah, I was told.
And I would have said, fuck you. This is the way it needs to be done.
I was told to sit back and let him figure it out.
And then in the meantime, you're bitching, you're complaining. Why the hell bitch and complain to me? Dude ain't doing his job. See you later.
Then I ended up just going out there and doing it all myself.
What you should have done was send him home until he talked to your boss. That's what I would have done. Okay, you don't want to work? Get the fuck out of here. But see, I'm a very blunt person when it comes to that stuff. where
I wish
don't,
I had the authority to send him home, but I
you
don't.
you do.
No, I don't.
Well, that's what you think.
No, I don't.
The problem is you were hired for a job, you got a title. If they're not doing what the hell they're supposed to do, get them out of there. It has nothing to do with authority.
Hell, if it wasn't, if it was in my hands, this dude wouldn't even be there.
Set him home until he talks to the manager. That's how easy it is. But that's how I handle stuff like that. Back in a tent with no internet. Sorry to hear that, man. Sorry to hear that. The station won't stop China. Now, Peter, we're going to be talking about this first religion practice. Hold on a second here. Hold on a second. Practice sodomy, cannibalism, child sacrifice, and they married into a royal bloodlines of this realm. Wow, did that take a turn right there? Wow. And thank you, Jason. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Based on what Hollywood is saying, it sounds like he was definitely listening to you last night, China. You just don't like the response. And then is he right?
I already answered. I put, not usually.
So doesn't
meaning I don't like the response. What?
But isn't that what you're looking for? Is my opinion when you talk to me? Or any women that talk to a man? Man is supposed to be open, listen, and give an opinion. That doesn't give the female the right to go after the man. She's the one that asked for the fucking opinion.
Okay.
She's quiet.
I got nothing.
You got nothing.
No. I don't like being in the hot seat. Put someone else in it.
But you put me in it all the time.
Not all the time. Why you act like I'm such an idiot or such a I don't know, beast?
A bitch.
Well, I already know I'm a bitch. It's fine. I'm good with that.
You're good with that.
I like being a bitch.
Yeah, go figure. Now, moving on from China Doll problems.
Thanks. It's about time.
Does religion do more harm than good? And I have to admit, I believe in the old man upstairs. But at the same time, I think it's a personal connection that you have with the old man upstairs. And I believe religion is a man-made deal. I believe religion has done more harm than good. If you look out throughout history at the stuff, especially with Christianity, okay, where Christianity is supposed to be turn the other cheek and all this charity and all that kind of stuff. But with Christianity, people killed in the name of Jesus Christ, his name. And that's not what he preached. They burned people at the damn stake. You had other religions doing the same thing. And like somebody said earlier, yeah, sacrifices and stuff. Do you believe religion's a man-made deal?
Yes. I believe a lot of these churches just are out for money.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, if you look at the Catholic Church, they're the richest thing in the world.
Well, and a lot of churches out there. I mean, I know the one I grew up going to. It was so sad. They wanted as their offering every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
They basically wanted a percentage of your income as their.
And
offering.
Actually, your parents fell for that, didn't they?
My dad did, yeah. Yeah, he gave a good amount every Sunday. Every single Sunday. Like I was like, wow.
So you do agree that religion is a man-made deal?
Mm-hmm. It's either you believe, you don't believe. I mean, all these different religions. I mean, people do what they're gonna do, but it's like.
And I like what Penguin said. It was created by man to scare man. And if you notice, there is a lot of scare tactics that are employed by these religions, especially the Catholic Church.
Well, and Nitro said the Catholic Church is 15%. Well, so is Lutheran.
I'm not talking about,
It's crazy.
the tills. I'm talking about how they actually go about and make up rules as they go along. Did you know marriage before King Henry I think it was the 8th? Don't quote me on that one.
Because he's not sure.
Where he didn't want to keep living with the one wife, Catherine the Great, or something like that. And you had to go to the Catholic Church to get permission to get rid of her to marry another one. Or before then, it was all right to have multiple wives.
Mm-hmm.
It was all right to do that. Hell, they did it in ancient times when everything was going on.
Well, isn't the Catholic religion the one that frowns upon divorce?
Well, that, but let's go back to it. They, in the middle of that, changed the rules because of an event that they didn't like. There was so much control that they put over people that they actually listened. Now, you're talking about anal colon cleanses, okay?
Who was? Nobody was.
In the medieval times, they used that as birth control, anal colon cleanses. But at the same time, the Catholic Church back then said sex was bad unless you used it to have kids. That's the only possible freaking reason you should have sex. Now, human beings are animals. We're animals. Animals have sex. So how is it somebody else can tell you what to do? That's what I don't understand about priests. I don't understand about nuns. Is you're going to sit there and not have sex because somebody else said so. That wasn't in the Bible, that you should abstain from sex. So it took on a beast. And what did that lead to? If you were a psychiatrist, you would say, well, it let up to some suppressed feelings. And next thing you know, you got a bunch of priests going out there messing with kids. Right or wrong?
Oh, you were talking to me?
Yeah. Keep up here.
I'm not a smart person when it comes to religion, but,
Yeah, but you know what? It don't have to do with being smart about religion.
No, I guess.
For example, in the United States, our founders perfectly said separation of church and state.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about a presidential candidate like Mike Pence going around flaunting his religion?
Seems more like he's pushing it on other people.
And how do you like that?
I don't.
Now, you believe in the old man upstairs. How do you like how people look at you in a hypocritical way because of, say, your tattoos?
It's my body. I can do whatever I want. I don't like it. Who are they to judge?
And that's exactly what they're doing, is judging. Aren't they being hypocritical at that point?
They're being extremely hypocritical. That's just like, hey, don't go into a restaurant in the summertime with a bunch of Bible pushers there on a Sunday after church.
And Steve, you're right. Down south, everybody is Baptist and they go crazy down there. And one of the things with the Baptists are they're fundamental. They believe everything in that Bible. The problem is their so-called teachers don't teach them that Bible has many other books out there that the Catholic Church chose not to be included in there. So there's a lot more information out there, but everybody focuses on that one book. That is a harm that some religions do. How are you going to pick what's supposed to be in there if this is supposed to be from the man upstairs? And I think you could say that a lot of this is based on control. Do you think it's based on control?
Somewhat, yeah. Because it's I mean, look at all the cults. Okay? Right? That's all based on control. It's that religion for that specific cult. Do this, do this, do this, do this. And everybody followed because they thought that person in charge of the cult was God.
And look at it, what happened with Jim Jones. Killed everybody.
Exactly. But they all did it because they thought that's what God wanted. Because of that
And
one
it only
person
takes one person.
to get you to believe in all that stuff. That's just like how many people have died because of religion? Okay, you got the Crusades, the Inquisition, the Holocaust, witch burnings during World War II. What if the Pope would have said it's a mortal sin to participate in extermination of the Jews? How many lives do you think would have been saved?
And that's a great debate right there with the Catholic Church during World War II. They knew it was going on, but they didn't want to get involved. They knew it was going on.
And
just like they knew that the sex crap was going on with priests, but they hid it. Well, that's not what you're supposed to do if you're all high and mighty. And again, I believe in a personal connection with the old man upstairs. Me, I stopped going to churches because of all the judgment. I can't stand it because I don't like hypocritical people. But I still believe and talk to the old man upstairs.
Yeah.
And I don't think that even him is all right with the way some of this stuff has happened throughout history. You mentioned the Crusades. That's one of them. Well, let's kill them in the name of Christ. What? That's not what they wanted. That's not what he wanted.
No.
He didn't want people burned at the stake for being a witch.
No. That's like, and that's what? That's that is religious control. Right there.
Do I believe in life after death? I actually believe that your soul has to keep learning. And it's more of a Buddhist type of thinking. And if you think about it, a lot of the tenets of what Christ was talking about was from the Buddhist religion. Because Buddhism and Hinduism is the oldest one out there. I do believe in the reincarnation stuff, but I believe in the sense that your soul has to learn and keep learning. What do you think about that question he asked?
What was
Nitro?
What was the question?
Do you believe in life after death? And I like what Misfit said. Spirituality. What is it? Spirit. I can't see that fucking thing.
Can't see it or can't read it.
No, I can't see it. Is a personal choice. Organized religion is just another form of control.
Spirituality is a personal choice. Organized religion is another form of control. Well, yeah, spiritual. People don't have to belong to a church to believe. Everybody practices religion, obviously, in their own way, shape, or form. I stopped going to church, the church I was, raised at, mainly because I didn't agree with a lesbian becoming a pastor.
Exactly, because if you truly believe in what is written, and it says anybody that's a leader has to be without reproach. So when you put them kind of people in a preaching position, you just went against everything you're supposed to be preaching. Yes or no?
Yeah. It's like, oh, now we're going to pick and choose what part of the Bible we go around because of the fact that some things go against what you're speaking about. If you have, like in my situation, it was a lesbian pastor. I mean, to each their own on what they do behind closed doors, but you're not going to sit here and preach the Bible to me when, according to the Bible, you're going against things in the Bible. I mean, I don't care what people do. I don't care how people live their lives, but you're supposed to be the word of God standing in front of that church.
Mm-hmm.
But yet you're going against what that book says.
Right. Wow, look at China Doll go.
I mean, trust me, I have lesbian friends, but it's like, you know,
And
still.
what Rich just said, intelligent, strong-minded people controlling the weak-minded, otherwise the strongest, most violent people would rule the world. I believe there's been more wars that have been started over religion than anything. Look at all the conflict you have in the Middle East. That could show you just how bad religion could really affect somebody's life. They killed that one girl out in the Middle East just because she didn't have her Hobbit on right. The morality police in Iran.
Did you just say Hobbit?
Yeah.
It's not what it's called.
What is it called?
I don't know, but it's not Hobbit.
I call it
Hobbit's a person.
I call it a Hobbit.
Okay, well, how about groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS war as much against other fractions within the Muslim world as they do against the West? Many say that ISIS is a power struggle for control of the Mideast. See, right there. It's all about control. Perhaps, but the people who follow ISIS leaders do the same in the name of their religion.
Exactly.
So they're basically saying everything that they're doing is because of their religion. But I do know people that are Muslim and don't.
And you're right there, Mike. Hollywoodism at its best.
I do know people that are Muslim and they totally disagree with everything that goes on with Al-Qaeda and ISIS.
And I think that you got to take people at their core, not the religion. Now, does religion give some people morality? Maybe. But isn't morality something that should be obvious without having to do religion?
You would think.
Knowing what's right and what's wrong?
Common sense.
But when it comes to right and wrong, I don't like somebody telling me what's right and wrong according to their beliefs. And that's why the founders said, no, hell no. That's just like a lot of people say, well, this country was founded on Christianity. No, it wasn't. It was based on the Enlightenment. Being able to think what you wanted to think. And if you want to go further, most of them were Masons. This country was not built on Christianity. Because if it was, it would have been talked about by the founders in all their letters, the Federalist Papers, all that kind of stuff. So that leads to, well, wait a second, you believe that? That's not the case. But because these religious leaders want to push that kind of crap, that's just like the Mormon religion. Back then, all these, so-called Christians were pushing hard against them because they married more than one wife. And guess what? To get what they wanted, they conformed to what society back then wanted. They didn't take the wives. So that shows you how bad things can get when you let a religion into your government. And that's why I cannot stand Mike Pence. I can't stand that dude. He goes as far as he won't be in the same room alone as a woman without his wife. Are you shitting me? That just says something about you and your desires. That's what it looks like to me. Are you going to want a president that tells you, hey, this is the way you're supposed to think?
Well, we can all agree sometimes that life is hard, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. Bad people do bad things and get away with it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Natural disasters strike, killing hundreds, sometimes thousands. Well, as the saying goes, life's a bitch and then you die. Religion and the belief of afterlife may give people comfort, and it gives them a feeling of purpose and meaning. It gives them solace in a time of grief.
Very true.
What do you think?
Like I said earlier, I believe in your soul having to learn. I believe that it has to go through the reincarnation to keep on learning. Because without that, it's just like if you look at a dead body. Let's talk about that. You look at a dead body.
Yeah, they look empty.
You're damn right they do.
When my dad passed away and I was at the house before the coroner came, and I was looking at my dad, and I actually physically closed his eyes for him. But before I closed his eyes, I was looking into his eyes,
And it was empty.
and it's like there was nothing.
So there is a
was,
soul.
It was like a nothingness.
There is a soul, and I believe the soul reincarnates or goes and tries to learn again.
Mm-hmm.
So do I believe that it's done after you die? No, I don't believe that.
I don't think so.
And like Todd said, they take a sentence or a word from a verse and they just run with it.
Yeah.
Without any context of what it said before and after. And that there leads to a lot of problems where people get hurt. Right now, we're talking about, does religion do more harm than good? For pros and cons. It's a good conversation going on in the chat room right now. We'll be right back after the news brief.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. President Biden urging the world to remain united in defending Ukraine against Russia. White House correspondent Greg Cluxton has more.
During a 30-minute speech to the UN General Assembly, the president called on nations to stand up to Russia's naked aggression.
If you allow Ukraine to be carved up, is the independence of any nation secure?
Mr. Biden also made a case for democracy.
We will not retreat from the values that make us strong.
He said democracy is the best tool to meet the world's challenges.
Ladies and gentlemen,
rock, roll, and remember
WMMR DB Rockford. You can also say that, since we're talking about this, what was just talked about with him about this democracy, he is using that to send more of our money over there. And you got the sheeple that believe that's actually the case, that democracy's at risk. Stop being sheeple. That's dangerous shit over there. You're talking about a country that has freaking nukes, man. And if you keep pushing them, that's exactly what's going to happen. What is, let's go to a pro. Let's try a pro up here, and let's see if we agree on that.
I've actually been slowly reading some of these.
Go ahead.
Heaven's Gate. Well, I don't know if this is a pro or a con, because
Heaven's Gate was a bad one.
It doesn't specify if these are pros or cons. Okay. This specifically says Heaven's Gate is an example of power of religion to harm.
That it is, because what was it? They thought a comet was coming and some aliens or shit were coming, and they all committed suicide. Ended their life over some bullshit.
Yeah, and it was in 1997.
Yeah, I remember 1997. They went in there and, yeah, they found everybody dead. And that's what you were talking about earlier, is a cult.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know. You were talking about the politicians and religion.
Right.
And I came across this. There are politicians in the United States that refuse to do anything about man-made global warming because they believe it is in God's hands.
Well, here's the thing about that. If you flip it, you got these climate quacks. That's their religion. They don't sit there and understand that this earth goes through warming and cooling periods.
Mhm.
They don't get it. This has been going on forever. And they want to say it's man-made. I don't believe that. That's their religion. And what does that do to us? That puts us in a shit spot where, 3 years ago, we had gas prices under $2. Now we got gas prices into the $5 range, $6 range because of their beliefs.
Have you ever heard the people say it's all in God's hands or it's God's will?
God's will. There's the big one.
Or have you ever heard the saying, God helps those who help themselves? But I think too many would rather pray than take action to better their situation. This article specifically states that religion becomes an excuse for complacency and laziness.
Wow.
Meaning, like, if you are diabetic, prayer and resignation will not help you, but a change in your diet and more exercise will.
And I think that's a good point. Prayer, I believe, is a powerful thing because you're having a one-on-one at that point.
Exactly.
But at the same time, it's just like that one saying where the boat and the one drowns because he didn't, take advantage of the rescuers or something. And when he goes up to heaven, God said, well, I sent you this, I sent you that. That's how messed up some people get when, okay, well, like they said, diabetes, well, change your damn diet.
Mm-hmm.
You got the answer that you needed. But I think that a lot of these people fall for these religious freaking steps here where they're oblivious to the simple answers. But in God's name, you know how bad that has hurt people over the centuries. In God's name, I'm going to cut your head off. Shut up. That's not what you would want.
Religions call all kinds of natural and normal feelings and behaviors a sin, especially when it comes to sex.
Oh, God, the sex thing.
Well, I'm not going to stop there.
No, let's talk about the sex thing. To some of these religions, they go too far.
They do.
Way too far. If somebody wants to do something behind their doors, what is it your business? It's not your business to judge.
Right.
You're supposed to be a human being to another human being. That's just like gays. I do not believe and will never believe in it that you beat the shit out of somebody because they're gay or you put them down because they're gay.
Mm-mm.
I do not believe in that. And I do not believe any religion should have any input into that.
And I also,
That's just as bad as them putting a witch on the stake.
I also have strong feelings about when people say that gay people, that like the LGBTQ community, that all those people are going to go to hell because of the way they feel.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's false.
That is false to me.
It doesn't matter what your sexual preference is on whether you go to hell or heaven.
Because if that was the case, I wouldn't have my pit bull humping my freaking Jack Russell all the time. It's just life, okay? It's just life. And it ain't nobody else's business what somebody else does because your religion says that's not right.
And this is why, I mean, yes, I was raised Lutheran, but as of now, I don't consider myself a specific religion. I just say I'm a believer in God.
Right.
Here's a few foods for thought. This is some food for thought. Some religions tell you what you can and cannot eat. Some tell you what you can and cannot wear. Some tell you what you can and cannot do with your body. and what you can and cannot do on certain days of the weeks.
Why do you think that sex is such a taboo to religion?
Because correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Hollywood, because you know more on this than I do, because I'm not a big religion person. Yeah, I went to church. I paid attention, kinda. And I lost my train of thought.
Rattlesnake, there are more than 500 deities that are worshipped all over the world. Does that mean everyone is wrong? Very good question.
I don't think everyone's wrong. They're believing in what they believe in, but it doesn't mean everybody else is going to believe in the same things you do.
Mhm.
It's like
Just because they say that it's true doesn't mean it's true.
right. Well, I used to work in I used to manage a hair salon, and we used to have 2 girls there that were Muslim, and what is it, Ramadan or something?
Yeah, Ramadan. And
where they
then
have to go and
got-
pray
right.
specific times of the day, and they have to fast until sunset or whatever
Mhm.
I believe that's how it goes. I'm not positive, but they brought their mats, and I gave them a location in the salon where they can do what they need to do, because that's what their beliefs are. I'm
Mhm.
not going to frown and be like, this is work, you can't do that. No. And let them do what they got to do.
Right.
I didn't judge them for what they were doing. And here's a question for you, Hollywood. Does God really care about circumcision and clitoral cutting, about shaved heads and beards, about turbans and headscarves, or pork and shellfish?
I really don't think we'll ever know that until it's time to talk to him about it. I think, again, that is a religious control. When somebody can tell you what you got to wear, like that girl that died in Iran, they killed her because she didn't have her head covering on right.
Right.
They killed her. What the hell is that?
And don't get me wrong, some religious groups do a lot of good work.
Look at Steve here. Look at Steve.
What?
The organized religious groups say they are about forgiveness and peace unless you disagree with them. Then they try and scare you into believing.
That's true.
Wow, powerful statement right there.
That's true. That's very true.
And when you get hypocritical talking here, Christmas, that was a pagan holiday.
Yeah.
But they incorporated it into their religious thinking. So it seems like you got more hypocrites in religions than not. Come on. They would kill you for thinking the earth wasn't the center of the universe.
Right.
They would kill them. Or the earth was flat kind of crap. That's how bad it used to get. Now, are we evolving? I think so.
You hope so.
But as evolution starts going, you see more and more of these people get crazy. And going back to the sex thing, sex is fun. Sex feels good. But because of that, religion says, no, you can't do it.
Can't do it unless you're married.
Unless you're married. And even when you're married, you can't do this, this, and that. Control.
Because it's frowned upon.
And again, there's a lot of good stuff that some religions do.
Yeah,
charity and all that kind of stuff.
They help with, like, some churches have food banks, some help out with homeless shelters, they assist in natural disasters, some run hospitals, adoption agencies, and schools.
And that's a great thing. That's a beautiful thing. But like what was said earlier, if you don't believe, they try to scare you into it.
Yeah.
You're going by a book that was put together by humans of what should be in there. Like the book of Enoch's not on there. The book of Thomas, the book of Mary Magdalene's not in there. Look at if you look at Mary Magdalene, she was close as hell to Jesus. And that pissed off the disciples. So next thing you know, she's a whore. I think a lot of people use what they want out of that. And again, I'm not bashing you if you're religious, man. I'm not. I'm just trying to put out both sides here. What other thing did your article say?
Does no religion mean you can do anything? Meaning, because you're looking at me like, what? Lack of religion is not a license to rape and pillage and do whatever you want. We have laws and we have codes of conduct. People should be moral because virtue is its own reward.
Teresa, because in most religions, sex is to create human life and nothing else. It's not for pleasure.
Yeah, that's true.
I like pleasure.
But there are also some religions that are considered similar to a like for-profit corporation.
Oh my God, do they profit?
And some
again, look at the Catholic Church. It's its own country.
Some religions want to increase their numbers and expand the well-being of their women and families.
Do you think it's to expand the well-being, or do you think it's for money?
I think it's because it's for money. Some churches, they forbid family planning or abortion because they want more members to their church in the future.
And you know what? The abortion issue is a huge, huge issue. Now, you can talk about it in a religious sense, or you can talk about it in a moral sense. But at the end of the day, it's the woman's choice. Now, do I believe in anything after 15 weeks? No, that gives you long enough to decide if you're going to do something. But let's put it in another aspect. The woman has cancer, just found out.
Mm-hmm.
She's 6-7 months pregnant, but without that chemotherapy, she's going to die. Does she have a right at that point to abort if she wants? I think so.
Most women won't.
Most women won't, but doesn't she deserve that right?
She deserves to have that choice.
That's what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
Doesn't she have the right to say, if I continue with this, I'm going to die without the treatment?
Mm-hmm.
But then you'll have like a Mike Pence out there saying, nope, can't do it. Bullshit.
Well,
If she wants to have that because she's going to die, I believe she should have it.
Well, that's just like in the same situation when a woman is pregnant and she finds out down, like we'll just go with the same scenario, like 6 months, 3 to 6 months, and she finds out through, like an amniocentesis that the child's going to be born with a defect, like Down syndrome, or in our grandson's case, spina bifida, or something of that nature. Do you think in that situation the parent has the right to choose?
Yes.
Whether or not to have that child, even though their life is not at risk, but the child is going to be born with.
Then you look at quality of life.
Too many medical issues.
Look at quality of life. Then it's a hard choice, but look at quality of life.
That's just like, I remember reading a story. God, I think it was last week.
And yes, Steve is dropping some truth bombs today, Rattlesnake.
I read a story last week about a woman that gave birth to a baby that actually was born with missing half its brain. It lived 2 hours. But she knew prior to having the child that the child was developing this way and chose to give birth to that child.
But she had the choice in that.
I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there that, there are people that will go through with
And that's you know what,
And
when
that's a personal choice.
Yeah,
and that is
it
what she
c-
chose to do because
she has the right to choose what she's going to do.
yeah, and her reasoning for going through with it was that yes, it was her first child. She always wanted to be a mother, and she just wanted to be able to hold that child and let it pass on its own
Mhm.
in her arms, and that was what she did.
But what gives the government a right, or let's say Mike Pence, the right, because of his religion, to tell a woman that she isn't able to make the choice?
He has no right. Does he give birth to children? Does he get pregnant? Does he have to carry that as people call it, the fetus? Does he have to carry the child? No. Is it his body? No. A woman should be able to have her own right to choose what she does with his or with her own body.
And not according to what a religion says you got to do.
Mm-mm.
Because again, it goes back to control.
It is. It's all about a control issue. I think there's a lot of things in this world that people don't realize is based on control. Unless you deeply think into it.
And I like what Todd just said. We're not science experiments or lab rats for the rich and the doctors.
Nope.
And that seems like what a lot of the religion and politicians have in common is they want to control.
And the problem is with that, the people are letting them do it.
Very true.
People are
'Cause if you-
letting them control them.
Because if you think about it, let's go into the medieval period. Look how bad they were controlled. Or even in the early history of the Americas, burning people. That was total control.
Well, it's like that's one of the reasons why I want to go to Salem for the witch trials and all that, because basically they were burned at the stake for believing differently than other people.
Mm-hmm.
Because they sat there and everybody was pointing fingers. This one's a witch. This one's a witch. This one's a witch. Whatever. But did any of them ever do anything to prove whether they were or were not a witch?
Yeah,
Throw them in the water, and if they float, they're not. And if they sink,
No, they are.
They are a witch if they float, and if they sink, then
they weren't a witch.
They're
Sorry.
not a witch. Sorry, but you're dead now. Come on.
We're going to be running overtime, so member only is going to be tomorrow instead of, I think this is a big subject that we're covering right now. So members will have it tomorrow, but this is too good of a debatable subject that we're into right now.
Stand by. I'll be right there.
He knows your music. He speaks your mind. And he's got you locked on. Call him K. Because you're okay with him.
You're listening to Motorcycle Madhouse Radio, WMMR DB Rockford. If you're just joining us, we're talking about, does religion do more harm than good? We were talking about the 4 pros and cons of that. Welcome everybody that's new to the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe over on YouTube. And we're streaming over on Rumble right now. I'm just waiting to see what kind of comments we get over on Rumble, because that's more of a right-leaning type of deal. And it's going to be very interesting to see the split between YouTube and Rumble on that one. But I think, we got a lot of truth bombs being dropped by a lot of our people down in the community chats. Batman, welcome to the channel. It's good to see you. But again, we're talking about, does religion do more harm than good? And they, I believe it was Steve or Rattlesnake or something like that, that abortion's going to be the deciding factor in the election coming up. And I do believe that's the case, because one thing the Republicans are stupid is there's mostly independents in this country. and they don't like shit pushed on them. I think that's what it all comes down to when you get into the abortion debate. Should somebody else have control over you because of their religion?
You know, I've always thought about how convenient it is that many churches say you cannot be saved by good works. It seems you have to join their church in order to be saved.
Well, that's one thing. They say that the only way you're going to be saved is through Jesus Christ.
But you don't have to belong to a church. for
You
that.
you don't have to belong to
But
a
a lot of
like
church,
that.
but a lot of churches will say that you have to be a member of a church in order to be saved, and it's not true. I mean, it's completely not true. It's completely false.
Especially if you're going to tell me you're going to have a one-on-one with the old man upstairs, then to have a human being come and say, because of our religious edicts, that ain't the case. Well, you're trying to overrule the freaking old man upstairs.
Mm-hmm. And you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people. I mean, I grew up every Sunday. We had to be at church.
And you just said the magic word.
Had to,
Had.
because my parents made us.
Mm.
None of us kids really wanted to go, but we kind of were told we had to be there. And we did not get a choice until we were 18 and graduated high school to choose whether or not we went to church on Sundays. And my choice, and basically both my brothers did the same, after we turned 18, we only went on holidays.
And I like what Todd just said about we all have choices to make and life is all about choices. It seems like a lot of religion out there wants to take away that choice.
I agree.
And a lot of people don't like that.
Mm-mm.
They don't like being told, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that, which is horseshit, in my opinion.
Well, explain something to me. Many people say, and it's probably of the.
And what do you think what Mike just said? Keep that thought. When you're forced to go to church every Sunday when you grow up, you will repent and resent your parents. Resent your parents because they're making you do something.
Oh, yeah. Because on Sunday morning, all I wanted to do was sleep in and watch cartoons.
That was Saturday morning. but-
No, Sunday morning had cartoons too. I didn't want to go because why? Because one, to me, this is gonna sound so.
It's hard to believe in
is-
something when you're forced to.
This is gonna sound so bad. It was boring. They'd be doing the sermon, and I'd pretty much be dozing off or like doodling on a piece of paper, or not even paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Until I was in high school. And what they'd made us do in high school was they gave us a sheet of paper, and it had questions on it that we had to answer during the church service and the sermon. And we had to hand it in to the pastor after
All my
church.
answers would have been none of your business, none of your business, none of your business, none of your business.
Like our pastor used to do the 1, 2, 3s. Okay. He would have 3 specific points in his sermon, and we would have to write down each point.
If I wanted to go to school, I'd keep going to school.
It was pretty much like school. And he would collect these papers. You know what everybody used to do? Because I'd get in trouble if I did not pay attention. They'd all copy off my paper because nobody wanted to pay attention.
Mm.
And I was
And I think
forced to pay attention.
and I think that's a bigger point towards a lot of these politicians pushing the religion on people. It drives them away from ideas that they actually might have that's right. And I really like the conversation that Chuck Gines, he's a real good philosopher, and I really like a lot of the stuff that he has to say. Really do. And he's talked about on this subject a lot. And he makes some damn good points, especially about the Christianity being the foundation of the United States. So I would encourage people to go over there and listen to some of his discussions that he has on religion. And, old Chuck Gines, he always brings the fucking facts. Let me tell you, he brings the facts on what he's talking about. So it's just the channel Chuck Gines over there. What else?
My question.
Oh,
is
you got a question.
my question. Well, it's a thought/question all rolled together. People say, I guess you could say, those that are in churches say that when you are born, you are actually born a sinner.
That always confused me.
And they say
Because
the
of the
only way to be free of that sin is to get baptized.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right? Are you following?
Yeah, I think
How can a baby who was just born into this world and has done absolutely nothing wrong because they're a baby be considered a sinner?
because they believe sex is a sin. If that was the case, how the hell do this world exist? How does life exist without sex?
I mean, do you actually look in the mirror and sit there and go, well, when I was born a sinner, and the only way to clear my conscience was to be baptized at less than 6 months old or a year old.
And you don't even
don't even know what
you don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice, but you also don't even have a clue what's going on. Next thing you know it, you're being held over a thing of water and some random person's dumping water on your head. You have no clue. I'm not gonna lie. We did it with our kids, but
you still should have, a choice.
Shouldn't you have a
as
choice as you grow older on whether you do or do not get baptized?
That's just like getting your pecker, cut off.
Circumcised.
Circumcised. Hey, wait a second. I didn't agree to this shit. You're cutting my shit.
I mean,
that comes down to one religion that did that.
And to be honest, when we had our son, and you can correct me, I actually did research.
You did
on whether or not to circumcise my son. I chose to circumcise him, of course,
because there's a lot of health benefits to it.
Exactly. It's cleaner, but it's like I did research prior to having him to see whether or not to circumcise him.
And there's nothing wrong with having research.
And I wasn't doing it based on, what I grew up with. All boys should be circumcised. No, I wanted to know the medical reasons behind
it's not a laughing matter.
Whether or not to circumcise my son.
And I was all for that for you.
And I mean, yes. Okay, gross. Hollywood is circumcised. But that was not my designing factor. That wasn't why I chose to do it. I chose it because of health benefits, health factors, reasons behind medical things.
But you didn't do it out of a religious
I didn't
must.
I didn't do it because, they say the child should be circumcised. No, I did it because I did research. Do I know anybody personally that's not? No. To each their own.
What do you think about Little Misfit? Indoctrination into the system. Could you consider that the case? They start you so young as a baby, into a belief system that you're not open to anything else anybody has to say.
They do. They start you out small. I mean, I was going to Sunday school at 4 years old, and being taught, Noah's Ark and all that stuff. They didn't go into the bigger things until we were high school age, but I don't know. I think whether you go to church or not should also be a choice. But when you're a young child, you don't really get that choice. Did I bring our kids to Sunday school? I did for a little bit, and then realized one day when we came out of church and the kids were in the back seat and they were both old enough to communicate that they didn't like being there, that they were actually uncomfortable. And they were maybe, because they're 6.5 years apart. So I think our son at the time was 5. And he basically said he didn't like being there. He didn't feel comfortable there. And to be honest, even at 5 years old, I stopped bringing him.
Mm.
And we just went like usually on Christmas. And that was it. Because I didn't want to make my kid, even at 5 years old, do something he did not feel comfortable doing.
And now you know what? He's actually a smart kid because he saw through all the crap and people being hypocritical.
Well, and I didn't want to be choosing for him what religion he was. Yes, he was baptized Lutheran, but he is 20 years old and he has a choice on what he wants to be as far as religion based. I only did it because I thought that's what you were supposed to do. Because
supposed to do.
Well, the baptism, I thought that, I did it with both the kids because I thought that's what you were supposed to do because that's how I was raised. Your children get baptized. I was told by my parents that my children should be baptized before the age of 6 months.
And you look at the other religions, them kids are brought into it early to believe that part of the religion.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing more that divides this world than religion. I truly believe that.
And I think that's one of the reasons why when you're out in public, they say the worst thing to talk about is religion and politics.
Well, that's the way it
because
used to be.
it's such a huge divide in this world. And between religion and politics, I don't want either one pushed on me.
Mm-hmm.
Like either.
And that's where religion, I believe, doesn't belong in politics.
No, and unfortunately, a lot of the politicians nowadays use religion.
Well, they use it as a weapon, if you ask me.
I was going to say they use it to their advantage. Or at least attempt to.
You're damn right. They use it. And that's not the way it was set up. Hell, you see why some of these countries, they're still in the Stone Age. You look at a lot of Middle Eastern countries. Look at Afghanistan. They're still in the Stone Ages because of a religion. So when people start saying, well, this is wrong and that's wrong, come on. It kind of makes it to where you feel bad for living your own life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the worst parts is you make people feel bad about themselves because something they're doing.
Right.
And that goes back to the fact of why do you care somebody is doing in the own privacy of their own home? Why do you care? I don't understand it. It doesn't affect me. I'm not here. I'm not God to tell you what to do. Like right now, you're probably going to have a lot of religious nuts come after me on this subject. Well, you're going to burn in hell. Why?
Why? Because you gave your opinion?
Because I have questions. Because I have an opinion on a subject. I'm going to burn in hell.
And I'm not.
Wakey, wakey, rise and shine.
Take a deep breath and relax. It's all going to be fine.
Wakey, 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 wakey.
You're listening to Motorcycle Madhouse Radio, WMMR DB Rockford. Okay, man, we got Mike. We're talking about does religion do more harm than good? Again, members, we're going to go to members only tomorrow. We're going overboard on this one. It's a good conversation right now. Mike says he never understood it has zero effect on you. So why are you so upset about it?
What?
Let's talk about that question. If it has zero effect on you, what somebody is doing in their bedroom, why does it matter?
It shouldn't. It absolutely shouldn't matter.
And how
it doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form.
How does it make you feel when you have most of the religions saying this ain't right and they actually persecute and hurt people over it?
It actually pisses me off to the point where it's like, it's none of your business what goes on in somebody else's household
Or what they do.
or what they do. Let them live their life.
That's just like you.
Hmm.
They'd want to burn you at the stake
Probably.
because you're bi. You like women, you like men.
Yeah.
But to them, it's unnatural. To them, you're doing something wrong. To them, you're going to burn in hell for what you like doing. But they don't know how good of a person you are either.
Uh-uh.
They don't know your heart. They don't know how you go out on the limb to help people. And I thought that's what it's supposed to be about, is being a human being to other human beings.
And I think it's, why judge me on what I think and what I do? Judge me as who I am, not what I am.
Well, that's a powerful message right there. Very powerful.
I mean, am I out in public like dry hump? Well, yeah, I would dry hump somebody's leg. It doesn't matter. But am I out in public doing something that offends anybody? No. And if you're offended, turn around. Because I'm what? Dancing with a girl? Dancing with a guy? Big deal.
And let's take a couple comments right here from the chat. Rich, because half the time they want to make sure that we know about it and we accept them. They are looking for inclusion. Teresa, they make people feel bad to break them down, to make them more dependent on the religion and don't want their approval to be closer to God. What do you think about that? I truly believe that they do try to break people down to make them dependent on something.
Yeah.
The Catholic Church is good at that shit. Real good. Really good.
And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to depend on any sort of religion or church, because what are they going to actually do for me? Are they paying my bills?
Mm-hmm. No, they're, instead taking 10%. Oh, look at that. We got Mikey coming on, man.
Why the hell? Oh, there
You
I-
pulled me in that quick. I was trying to get ready and shit. But all right.
What are you thinking, Mikey, about this conversation here? By the way, this is my co-host on the Hollywood and Mike Ball Show, Sundays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
That's right. That's right. I don't know, man. I think a lot of people get upset about some of the most random shit in the world. I think it's an insecurity within themselves at this point. It's like, if I can't get all my anger out, I got to put my anger out towards somebody else doing something that I don't like necessarily. Though it doesn't affect me, I don't like it because it emotionally messes with me. So I want to say something, right? So I think people are just, I think it's attention-seeking behavior. I think it's people want validation. And I think it's an insecurity issue.
So you think that religion is an insecurity issue?
No, not religion in itself. It's when people have issues with other people that are doing things that have nothing to do with them. Like when people get upset about, let's say, what's going on in the bedroom, right? Like that has zero effect on you, what's going on behind someone else's closed door, right? Like, why would I have to get so upset about that, like, and be so offended about it? You know what I mean? Like, that's an insecurity in me. If I were to get like all like, oh, Jesus Christ, forget F these guys, like there's no need for that. You know what I mean?
Well, that falls in what Dirty Knob says. China and Mike can talk about this one. The biggest hypocrites praise God the most. China.
Yeah,
I agree with that, because the ones that praise God the most are the biggest hypocrites. Look what happened to you in the incident of the
restaurant. Yeah, well, I didn't even take that one into my own hands. Our daughter took care of that one.
but I
I
think
don't
it's a
know.
correct statement.
Well, yeah, they are because they're all when you got all these old man echoing. Thanks, Mike. Ow. When you're sitting and you're walking into a restaurant with your kids and you got all these little gray-haired old ladies and old men that just came out of church with their Bibles on the table, and I'm walking in there in a tank top, sleeved on both arms, my back is covered, and they're staring, like downright staring at me, and our daughter heard them say, "Oh my God, look what she did to herself. She's going to hell."
Uh-huh.
And our daughter got up. She looked at me. I didn't say nothing because I heard it too. She walks over to their table and looks at the one lady that said it and goes, "Excuse me, are you God?" And she's like, no. And my daughter was pissed. She goes, "What the fuck gives you the right to judge what my mom looks like?"
Mhm.
And I'm like, damn.
What do you think about that, Mike? Are the
Well,
biggest hypocrites the ones that praise God the most?
I wanted to kind of go off of what China Doll was saying. I have something very interesting that happened to me not that long ago. I was at the emergency room, and while I was at the emergency room, I'm sitting there waiting, and I'm minding my own business, doing my own thing, playing on my phone or whatever. And my girl's sitting next to me, and all of a sudden this lady across from us in the waiting room, she was sitting next to her daughter or her son, probably about 8, 9, 10 years old, and she's speaking Spanish to him back and forth, back and forth. I don't understand Spanish, so I'm just sitting there, whatever. Well, my girl understands Spanish. She's just secretly just in the cut, just also paying attention to whatever. Well, all of a sudden, she's going off about me, and I have no idea, talking about my tattoos and saying how I'm going to be going to hell, that never grow up to be like that man right there, pointing at me, saying that I'm going to hell and all this shit. And my girl just let it go, just let it go, let it go. And then my girl goes, "Hey, watch this. I'm going to call my mom." And her mom only speaks Spanish. So she calls her mom and goes on a fluent like tangent, right? And the woman and the son both looked at each other and got up and left the appointment. Like they ditched their doctor's appointment because of that whole ordeal. And it shows the ignorance, the arrogance, and the pussification of people, that you can't even say that to my fucking face. You know what I mean? Like, you had to say that in a whole different language to your son about how much of a piece of shit I am, but you've never talked to me. You don't know who I am. You don't know what I've gone through. You have no idea what I stand for. But yet you're going to go ahead and judge me completely by a book and say that I'm going to go to hell and that I deserve it. I mean, I was told what was said. My girl translated it to me and said, "This is what was said," and to me, I laughed, but it's hilarious to me that people take such offense to the smallest things. It's like, to me, it goes back to that whole thing. I wasn't hurting that person. Was I physically, or how could I even emotionally mess with you as me just sitting there not doing anything? I'm just sitting there on my phone. How am I hurting you? Yet you have the biggest opinion, and you already know everything about me, apparently. And you already know which direction I'm going, apparently. That's wild. That's a lot of ignorance and arrogance at the same time.
Well, that just goes back to you, China, and what you do. They would have done the same thing. Oh, well, she's bisexual. She's going to hell because this is what our religion says, or because we don't like it. So we can use our religion against you.
No, you can't, because I don't care what they say.
Because they don't, like Mike just said, they don't know you.
They don't know who I am inside. They don't know what kind of person I am. Okay, yeah, bisexual, and I have a lot of tattoos. Okay, so my tattoos, each one that I have has meaning behind it. I designed almost 100% of my tattoos myself, and they all have meaning behind them. Do you bother to ask what that tattoo stands for or what that tattoo stands for? No, because you're judging a book by its cover.
And let's be honest about tattoos. It comes out of Leviticus, I think it is, about you should not have markings or carvings on your skin. And what they don't tell you was that the Jews were not supposed to affiliate or intermarry with any of the Palestinians
Right.
because they had carvings and they had tattoos. That was they don't give any
It was a
context.
separation.
Yeah, they don't give any context what it meant. That's what I was talking about with the different verses where they use it against people, and they took and ran with that. Well, you're not supposed to have tattoos.
I
Wait a
think
sec-
that's with every single verse. You know what I mean? I think that people, like you said, people use these verses in the way that whatever leverage that what point they want to make. Well, it's like, well, with these verses, what was the context? You know what I mean? And if you don't know the context, here comes the ignorance and the arrogance again. You didn't even know or have the context of what that verse even meant. But yet now you want to use it against somebody to prove a point that you're better than somebody. Again, what did I do to personally hurt you or harm you or do anything to deserve this conversation in the first place?
Mhm. And like Steve said, and that does prove, you know what, Steve? Because I got a lot of family that lives in Mississippi and West Virginia, and they are some of the most judgmental people on the face of the planet. The most judgmental. And I think it's ridiculous when they don't know the person. Every person should be judged, China, on them, on themselves. Every person should be judged by how they act towards others, how they carry themselves to others. They shouldn't be put in this big balloon. That's just like and I don't think a lot of people understand this, is the LGBTQ community. Half of them don't even agree with what's being said out there. Half of let's take the transgender issue. A lot of gays don't agree that kids should have sex surgery.
Right.
That is true.
We place them all in one big bag, just like you're placed in one big bag.
Well, and it's not the first time I was judged. I get judged by one of the customers at work every single time he comes in. And it's an older man. And he just makes a comment every time he comes into my work. And that's
Snarky comment.
Well, and it's usually the same exact comments every time he comes in, and he'll just look at me, and he doesn't care who's in there. He doesn't care what's going on in the store. And every time he's come in, the store's been packed. And he'll look at me and see all the tattoos. And at that point, he only sees from mid upper arm down, because I'm in a short sleeve shirt. And he'll look at me and be like, "What does your mom think about that?" I'm like, "I don't care."
No, what you should say is it's none of your fucking business.
I'm like, "I don't care what she thinks. I'm 50 years old."
See, that man, if he had the balls to say that to me, and he only said it to me, it would only happen one time. He wouldn't be asking questions every single day, because I promise you, I would shut that down so fucking quick. I don't allow shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not some doormat for people. I show respect to everybody, whether it be on the internet, whether it be in text message, FaceTime, in person, whatever. I show respect. If you're gonna show me like that kind of disrespect, it's game on. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give it right back.
And I think it's funny because it's like my boss looks over at me because she was there twice when it happened, and she looks at me. He was always really nice to me, and I'm like, girl, you ain't got a tattoo that's
Exactly it.
visible. I'm like, you don't have as much as I do. So of course somebody's gonna say something, and I always know it's coming one day. Anytime I go somewhere, I know somebody's gonna say something. Do I care? No, I just argue back because it's fun now.
Hmm.
Well,
it's
yeah,
like,
if it's good
don't
entertainment at this point, you know.
I mean, it's like I'm used to this guy because he does it every time. Well, he doesn't talk like that to me, and I'm like, oh, I don't kiss everyone's ass either.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that too. That too.
I'm like, no. I'm nice to him when he walks in. I'm like, hey, how are you? Can I help you? And it just starts off right there. It doesn't matter how nice you are or I am to him. It's just every time. So now I've chosen in my in my point of view, the higher road that when he comes in, if I'm working with somebody else, I go out the back door and go have a cigarette because I just don't want to deal.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And I'll stay out there until I see him walking back to his car.
That's
Because
smart.
I'm just tired of dealing with it every single time he comes in.
Well, the problem with that is you haven't put him in his place.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, the customers that are behind him, they have said the things that I have said to him because I officially have said I have no filter with this guy anymore. And I snapped off the last time, and my boss was standing right there, and she didn't say a word. I'm like, I don't even care if she does. I'll call it a bipolar moment. I don't even care. And the customers behind him, when he walked out the door, said, "You had every right to say what you just did."
Mm.
Absolutely.
And one of the women, she's like, she said the same thing. She goes, "I can't believe people are still judging books by their cover." And I'm like, well, that's how this world is nowadays.
Mhm.
I think
She,
it's a lot of these older, real judgmental from their past, and they have these these old school mentality of what is correct in this world. And I think it's these people that are exactly what we were talking about not that long ago. People that want to be stuck in the 50s, people want to be stuck in the 60s. Like they can't evolve, you know, like they're just stuck mentally in a certain time zone. And that's their fucking problem. That's
Mhm.
not ours. You know, and honestly, I would just look at that guy and kind of like how you do, China, and laugh like you a clown. You know what I mean? Like this guy, take you serious? I'll go outside and bend you over backwards and snap you like that, bro. Like, don't even trip. You know, to me, that's funny. So I can understand why at this point, China, it can be just comedy.
It's hilarious to me now, and it's like I'll even I the last time he was in, I even told him to his face, I'm like, dude, you're just a joke. I'm like, why? And he just looked at me like his jaw dropped, and he's like, wow. I'm like,
Well, I hope you did. I hope you really
I'm
did
like,
say that,
I'm
and
like,
he
I'm like,
feels
this
it.
whole thing's a joke. I'm like, stop. Every time you're in here, you got something to say.
Well, you know what? We're running on an hour and a half, and boy, was this a good conversation right there. Hopefully, everybody got a good, you know, some good thoughts on this one. Good debate, and like I tell you, not everybody's going to be happy with what's said, but it's put out there as a debate, man, and debate it in the comment section if you want. But join us Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time with the Hollywood and Mike show. What do we got coming up anyway this Sunday?
You know, I hate when you do that because I got to sit here and I don't have my calendar. I'm at my parents' house right now. I don't got my shit lined up. Sorry for that. You know, so you know, I got to talk to you off the air, and I'm going to tell you to stop doing that. Because all I know is that we have fucking epic shows every single weekend. I don't care if I'm sitting here and I don't remember about some certain guest. I promise you, we have not yet to disappoint. We are putting out some of the best content, some of the best people, and these are a lot of my personal friends, personal connections that I've gained over the years. And actually, I did remember. Okay, so it is, in my opinion, the best bike builder in the entire world, in my opinion. Their name is Dirtbags, and they're here in California. And Dirtbags California, and these people, they have their own, like, their entire shop is vlogged. Like, they have a very big YouTube channel, and even on their Instagram has like 120,000 followers by themselves. And those guys are my personal friends. You know what I mean? So anyways, I've done vlogs with them. I've done all sorts of motorcycle content with them. And I asked them if they're willing to come on to the show. And guess what? My brother, Mikey Loco, was all about it. So that's what's coming up. Thank you for, look, I figured it out.
Rock on, man. Hi, everybody. Again, members only will be tomorrow because we kind of went over on this one. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Think about it. Debate it.
I say goodbye, vamoose, adios, ciao, so long, get your hat jack.
#1 internet biker radio show is now available on Spotify and all major platforms, including iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, and more.